Welcome back to Khali Yoga Center. My name is Ian, and I'm one of the teacher leaders here at Khali, and I'm with Chris, another one of my fellow teacher leaders at Khali, and we are here today to break down Tadasana, mountain pose. So let's talk Tadasana. So mountain pose in the yoga practice is really the mother of all of the poses that we do. So as we explore Tadasana, we're really giving ourselves access to every single posture you're ever gonna do, because everything originates from the body's natural aligned Tadasana. And when we're working with mountain pose, we're giving the body this balance of power and ease. So as we're standing, just naturally standing, how we've evolved to be upright in our human form, the Tadasana gives us that ease of standing, the naturalness, and it also empowers us to express, pull in, move out from this foundation of integrity and authenticity in our physical form. So let's explore the pose of Tadasana. So I'm gonna have Chris turn forward so we see the body front facing here. And we'll go through just the broad strokes of the form of the pose first. So Chris is just basically standing upright, and that's pretty much the broad stroke of Tadasana, is just standing. And then from that natural standing position, we'll get into the more specific alignment of how his body is placed in Tadasana. So his feet here are about hips width apart, and we can turn Chris's ankles just slightly back a bit so that he's got his feet parallel with one another, both feet on 12 o'clock. So we've got the placement of the feet and the alignment of the feet starting down at the physical foundation. And then moving up into the legs, you'll see that the legs are stacked with the feet under the hips, and the legs are internally rotating here. So there's just a gentle spiral back of the inner thighs. And then moving from the legs up into the pelvis, I'll have Chris turn to the side for a moment. And you'll see his pelvis is neutral here. So we're not, Chris isn't like tucking under his pelvis or tilting it back. There's this neutrality to the pelvis, with the front of the pelvis lifting upward and the tailbone descending downward. And then from the pelvis being neutral, that allows this natural ascension of his spine, and there's all the natural curves of the spine are still present here. And then from the spine line up to the shoulders, you'll see that Chris's chest is expansive. His shoulders are in line with his torso, not slumped forward or drawn back. And then as you turn forward, Chris, we'll notice that Chris's hands the palms are facing forward. And that's creating an external rotation. That's coming from an external rotation of the upper arm bones. And if he were to turn his hands inward or turn the palms back, that naturally kind of draws the chest in and collapses the shoulders a bit. So as he rotates the upper arm bones back and turns the palms forward, that brings the body into this anatomical neutral and opens the chest. So now let's explore some of the places that we often see integrity missing in the pose, or common misalignments that happen that take away our access to the natural power and ease of Tadasana. So one place that misalignments can occur is really down at the foundation, real easy. Often people will be standing with their feet either turned in or turned out. So real simple with that, you just align the feet to 12 o'clock to correct that imbalance from the foundation. And then moving up into the legs, often, Chris, if you want to turn sideways, we can see this a little bit more obviously. Often all the engagement and the intention to stand powerfully in the legs will result in the knees locking out. So you can see if Chris kind of locks his knees out, it pulls the weight back more and restricts energy from flowing freely from the feet up to the legs. And then the rest of the posture, you can kind of see his chest and his hips go a little wonky there. So just a slight softening at the back of the knees allows the neutrality of the pelvis and the shoulders to come into alignment. So that's one reason we're often working from the foundation up, because when we correct these simple foundational misalignments, the rest of the postures kind of falls into place because of that foundation. And then moving up into the pelvis, often folks will be carrying either an anterior or posterior tilt in the pelvis that they've built over time. So often they'll tilt the pelvis back. So if Chris can kind of exaggerate that tilting back, and you see the shoulders come out of alignment, the hips rock back some. Or in the opposite way, sometimes folks will have their pelvis tucked under like this, and that pulls the shoulders back, kind of collapses some energy up here as well, so that, like, real simply what we're working for is this neutrality in the pelvis, not tilting or tucking, but finding the pelvic bowl in this neutral position. So the actions for that are the pointy hip bones at the front of Chris's pelvis are drawing up toward the pit of the belly. And then the tailbone is dropping straight down toward the earth, this plumb line down that then creates an ascension upward through the spine. And then from there, another common place that we see misalignment in Tadasana is up in the neck. And often, just based on our culture right now, texting, driving, sitting at the computer, there's this like head forward position that often pulls the chin out of alignment, and then the head goes forward of the neck, which doesn't affect that same stacking of the joints. So as Chris draws his chin in toward his chest and the ears go straight back, you can see this natural stacking of the head right on top of the spine, and then that works with gravity. So there's this natural like lifting through the body and a softening and settling over the body when the joints are stacked naturally like this. So often that just takes a simple drawing into the chest, and you can see the sides of the neck get longer. There's this like natural posture of the head. So that is our exploration of Tadasana. I hope these alignment tips and cues give you some insight into how your body naturally stands and how you can affect power and ease in both your Tadasana and just how you move through the world, whether it's a yoga pose or standing in conversation with others, that your body is aligned in a way that you can be powerful and easeful in life. Thanks for joining us at Khali Yoga Center, and we will see you on the next video.